The Packers have played their 4 quarters. Now it's time for the 5th quarter.
Wes, trying to put a smile on her face after, a lot of frowns this season. What happened?
Yeah, it's really difficult because, this whole week, and I'm sure you're going through the same process, you try to contextualize a season and understand exactly why things played out the way they did. I will tell you this, though. If you would have told me as many individual things would have went right for the Packers as they did, Devontae Adams pressing for the franchise record in receptions, Aaron Jones breaking out again, making that next step, defensively getting Kenny Clark playing the way he did, and Jair Alexander becoming a shutdown corner, I would have thought things would have went better than 6-9-1. But certainly it's not an individual game, it's a team game, and I think when you look at the whole for the Packers, a few too many injuries, a few too much inconsistency, and the season is what it is.
Wes, which player surprised you the most in a good way this season?
I think it has to be Kenny Clark. You're looking at this guy, and we were talking about it during the final locker room. I was chatting with him about this.
Yeah, I was over there too.
23 years old. And to look at what he's accomplished in those 3 seasons, he's still the youngest defensive lineman in that room. It's pretty incredible. I mean, Tyler Lancaster kind of came on the scene late in the season, an undrafted free agent, is older than Kenny Clark. And for Clark to come out, and you're seeing the nose tackle position change now in the NFL. It's not just about being the Ryan Pickett, two-gapping, run-stopping guy. You got to be able to press the pocket, too. And I think as, whether or not it's Mike Pettin or the direction the defense goes in 2019, you have something in Kenny Clark to build upon. It's just unfortunate it had to end with him going on IR with the elbow injury.
Yeah, man, it's going to cost him probably a trip to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
His first alternate. I knew he's going to get a call. Somebody's going to beg out of it. And, he said, I just don't think I'm going to be able to go, which is too bad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But 55 tackles, 6 sacks. You asked that question, who was the biggest surprise? I think everyone expected him to take a jump. I thought he made a quantum leap in year 3.
Which player was the biggest disappointment this season?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, you know what? I guess I don't know if it's disappointment's the right word, but I was lamenting with my colleague Mike Spofford on one of the shows that we do, Packers Unscripted. I really wanted to see that whole defensive line group together. I wanted to see Muhammad Wilkerson and Mike Daniels and Kenny Clark, what that unit could do.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good group.
All offseason, you and I saw it, Mark. I mean, they were building so many things. We saw the surface level of what they were going to do with that front. They had so many different ways that they were using Muhammad Wilkerson and in kind of hybrid packages and as an outside linebacker, edge rushing type, and then being able to move him around. I might not be answering your question, but I really felt like that was going to be something that was going to be exciting to watch and see how that developed. And unfortunately, as we saw at the end of the year, it ends up being, Dean Lowry and a bunch of young guys having to fill out what originally on paper looked like the strongest position on the roster.
He's the future Fadal Brown. I might go Jimmy Graham. He had a lot of catches, but even he, a couple weeks ago, when the last time we talked to him, my numbers suck. He wasn't happy. 2 touchdowns. It just looked to me, for as much as he wowed us in the summer, and Aaron made a concerted effort to throw to a lot in practice, that I thought this was going to be an unstoppable combo inside the 20, and it just never really happened. And it looked to me like he just can't run away from even plotting linebackers anymore.
Does Mercedes Lewis fall on that list as a disappointment just because offensively, besides blocking really well, he wasn't a threat in the passing game?
I don't know how you feel about it. I felt like Lewis from day one, we kind of knew what his role was going to be. That, yes, historically he's been an every down, can play inline tight end. But they were pretty far up front right away with labeling him with the run blocking aspect and the blocking tight end aspect. I'll admit to you, if you would have told me you would have finished the year with whatever it was 3 catches maybe, that would have surprised me. But I think it was pretty well defined the way in which they were going to use him and what his role was going to be.
All right.
So besides Kenny Clark, which you mentioned, that made the quantum leap from last year to this year, what other player sticks out to you that made a big jump from last year to this year?
I mean, you have to say Kyler Fackrell. I mean, you and I, we so many times. I mean, you follow the fan base and where the temperament was. People were sort of losing their temper a little bit. We're getting sort of short, and we're wondering, okay, when is this guy going to turn it on?
That's because everybody constantly wrote about his one-on-one pass blocking record in training camp. He was just never beating anybody, and all of a sudden he leads his team with 10.5 sacks.
It is funny when you go back, though, and you think about, I think it was, the first or second practice when he beat David Bakhtiari?
Yeah.
And everybody wrote about it immediately. And the fact that what I appreciate about Fackrell is he never got too high or too low. He's the same dude. He's very even-keeled in his approach.
He is so low-key, he's sleeping.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But 3 sacks in 2 separate games, 10.5 on the season. I think if anybody out there you asked any fan if they were expecting that, nobody could have said that with a straight face. But as he mentioned, when Mike Pettin had them write down their goals before the season, he put down double-digit sacks, which had only been achieved by 3 individual players, Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers, and Nick Perry in the last decade before that. And yet here is Kyler Fackrell just kind of going about his way, doing his business, and now he's, the top guy now going into next year.
He got stronger.
Absolutely.
He got a little bigger, and the production finally came. Granted, a majority of it in a couple of games.